Welcome to the HEARTS Entwined podcast. In this podcast, we'll be having discussions around the secrets which attract lasting, healthy, fulfilling relationships, creating a healthy mindset, and what women should know and understand about men. Introducing your host, Lyn Smith, the Queen of Hearts, relationship expert, trainer, speaker, and best-selling author of the Cupid's Bow technique. Lyn's mission is to have a positive impact in reducing divorce, domestic violence, and suicide.
Welcome to the HEARTS Entwined podcast. This is your host, Lyn Smith, the Queen of Hearts. And today, listeners, I'm excited to tell you I've got a lovely guest. Her name is Wilma D'Souza, and she is a manifestation coach. So welcome, Wilma.
Thank you so much, Lyn. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm super excited about this.
Me too. So manifestation is probably a pretty new concept for a lot of the listeners tuning in right now. So the first thing I'd like to, I suppose, ask you is, how would you define what manifestation is specifically for those people that are not familiar with the term manifestation?
So in a nutshell, if you ask me in one line, manifestation is ask and you shall receive. So that's the classic line from the Bible. And I'm not very religious. I'm not religious at all. But there's a lot of stuff written in the Bible which is actually not religious. It's about manifestation. So like I said, in one line, manifestation is just ask and receive.
Okay, so when you're saying ask and you receive, what is it? Is it in your thoughts? Is it just speaking something out loud? In what context are you saying ask and you shall receive?
Yeah, so basically, what constitutes an ask is not just what you ask for out loud, but it's actually if you have really gotten into manifestation, like I have been into manifestation and the world of manifestation big time for the last 11 years. So what we think is, it is just about what we call our desires or something that we ask. However, from the point of view of manifestation, ask is a much broader term. Ask is your entire vibration. It is about who you think you are, what you think you can create, what you think, it's about everything that you think, what you feel, what you emote, everything that you think about yourself. It's actually much, much broader than just your thoughts or just asking for example, saying, I want this or I want that. It's a lot more than that. Yeah.
Okay, so before we dive a little bit more deeper into it, what I'd like to do is give the listeners a bit of a flavour about, your journey, I suppose, around manifestation and a little bit of insight about who you are and what's led you to doing what you're doing now.
Oh, yeah. I'll really have to cut a 11-year journey short now. Or maybe actually it's been something that I have been following all my life. So I was born in a completely religious Roman Catholic family, church-going, God-fearing kind of a girl. And I literally followed everything that they would speak about in the church. And I tried to always so-called, please God and make him happy. And I was miserable. I was miserable for the first 26 years of my life. And I really kept thinking that, I must be a very sinful person for having such a bad life, for not being happy, for actually being depressed all the time. And nothing seemed to make me happy. I felt I'm unworthy. I felt that, I cannot please God, and God is something so great, something outside of me. And then I read this book. I remember the date. It was the 18th of September, 2010, just a few months into my marriage, because I was married to the person I love. And I was supposed to be very, very happy. I had a job I love. I was doing pretty well in my work. I was doing well overall. And everybody would look at me, would think that, oh, she's got a beautiful life going on for her. I was just not happy. And then through a series of events, I know that I manifested the book the secret into my life, because like everything that gets created, I do not believe anything happens. You create everything, and that is what I teach people. So I read this book, The Secret, and that is when, for the first time in my life, I felt powerful. I felt like I have control, and that was a big turning point in my life. After that, I stopped. I understood that basically the church concept of a god was highly misinterpreted. It was very disempowering. It was not working for me. I joined a spiritual organization. I sort of lived the monk life. In addition to doing a corporate job, I would go there, do a lot of service for free for 3 years. And I did a lot of meditation and a lot of stuff. And yet, I did not feel like I'm nailing it. And I mean, there was still something within me which kept saying, no, there's more, there's more. This is not the complete truth. And that took me to, really exploring the field of manifestation, consciousness, awareness, reading up a lot of stuff. And, I actually did everything to make my life better. I never thought that I would end up becoming a manifestation coach. But in my journey, like I was a makeup artist, I was a hairstylist, I worked a corporate job for 9 years. I did a lot of stuff. And in addition to this, I started following a lot of, these small tips and tricks and techniques like visualizations, affirmations, doing small programs, big programs, reading books, implementing stuff. And my life just kept getting better and better. And not only that, I started speaking to friends and family, and I seem to always have a solution for everybody's problem. And like, it's just so amazing. I can safely say that there's not been a single person who I have, told, do this. And they've done it and their problem has not been solved. And then people told me that, you should do this professionally. So 4 years back, after, already preaching to 1,000 people, it's time, probably. It just happened. It's something like, again, I attracted it. I never thought that I would stop being a makeup artist and a hairstylist and become a full-time manifestation coach. But yeah, here I am. And that's been my journey. I think each day is just much better than the last. And I've sort of become this thing like I call, if you heard Jack Canfield, who is the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul. So in his books, there is a chapter which says become an inverse paranoid. And an inverse paranoid who is somebody who believes that everything is conspiring for them. So I believe that the universe is heavily rigged in my favor, and I am God's favorite child. And I totally believe that. So that's what I am today.
Excellent. I have that attitude too, that the universe is conspiring for our success, no matter who you are and, what level you're operating at. So what are, what is the actual purpose of, I suppose, becoming aware, first of all, of manifesting? What are the benefits of actually, as I say, for the audience's benefits of becoming aware and learning more about what manifestation is and how it can benefit your life?
Oh my God, where to start? I mean, I totally believe that, we are taught in school, we have these classes for history, geography, science, chemistry, biology. I totally believe that we should have a class called the Law of Attraction and Manifestation, and knowing who you truly are, which is something so important. So this is one thing that has only pros and no cons. This is one thing which is like it's just 100% win-win for everybody involved. So when I started learning about manifestation, the first thing I asked for is I just wanted to be happy, because I was so miserable. I was so miserable with my life. Nothing seemed to make me happy. It just seemed like an indefinite quest to make somebody outside of you happy, and then, reach some eternal destination maybe after you die, which just did not sound good. It just did not feel good. So the number one benefit of getting into this whole area of manifesting your life and creating a life through deliberate intent, like I like to call it, it is, so like I tell people that, I tell my clients that manifestation helps you create a life that you do not need a vacation from. So it's about creating a life where you get up in the morning and you are so grateful. You just look at your life and you're like, oh my God, what could I have ever done or asked for that makes me feel the way I feel today? I just feel so lucky. I feel so blessed. And I think that's the benefit. What more can you ask for? And oh yes, you can create the kind of relationships you want, not just romantically, but even otherwise. You have these amazing people in your life who keep showing up, who just keep making your life better and better. And you're like, oh my God, how do I always find the best people? And, you know, um, you just start getting money from anywhere and everywhere possible. um, your health starts becoming better, you start looking younger. uh, I think you can create everything with the law of attraction. There's not a single thing that I can say today that cannot be created. I have seen absolute miracles happening in my life and in the life of my clients. There's nothing which is off the table. You can create whatever you like. Absolutely.
Wow. Sounds phenomenal. And I believe in it massively myself. I do put this into practice. So for the benefit of the audience, obviously this is a very much a relationship and love focused podcast. So around manifesting your ideal relationship, if you was going to give tips or a step-by-step process for that as a main focus for somebody, what would be your advice around that, Wilma?
Oh my God. I think I am a self-created relationship expert because I somehow, without even knowing about manifestation, seem to just intentionally and very deliberately create the relationship of my dreams, or of anybody's dreams rather. Like I've been, like, I know my husband since the year 2001. So we've officially been together for 20 years now. We were best friends for 2 years. And after that, we dated for 7 years. So we knew each other for 9 years before marriage. We have been married for 11 years. And every single day I wake up to, thinking, how the hell did I get so lucky to be married to this guy? I mean, he's just so amazing. He cooks. He lets me do and be whatever I like to do and be. There is absolute space in my relationship. There's never an awkward moment, and we just love being with each other. It's not that we both have all similar interests, but we just have this amazing knowing that, we don't really, I wouldn't say, like a lot of people, they think that a relationship completes you. But what really clicked with us is that we both were complete. We were absolutely complete, absolutely 100% in love with ourselves. We loved our company. We loved ourselves the way we were. And then we just got together and created this amazing life where we love being with each other. So I think that's the way I can describe my relationship. And I remember when I was in school, I was in a girls' school, and around the time when the girls hit puberty and they started dating, they would come and all my friends would introduce me to their boyfriends, and I was a total nerd who was always with my head burrowed into the books. So I was a bookworm, and I actually was the school topper. I was brilliant in my studies as well. So I did not have time for boys, but it just made me feel so funny when people would tell me that, oh, you know what, this guy is my boyfriend, look how handsome he is, and or this guy is my boyfriend, look, he's so rich, and he has this car, and we go to rock concerts together. And I'm like, is this really what a marriage is? I mean, isn't it more about somebody caring for you, loving you, understanding you? I mean, what about, okay, this guy cares for me so much. So, and at that time, okay, I wasn't as wise as I am right now. So, I was absolutely certain that if I would attract somebody who would be rich. I did not know about the law of attraction, but if I would choose somebody who was rich and handsome, I was absolutely sure that he would be snobbish, and I probably wouldn't have a happy life because I had that point of view at the time. I had that limiting belief that, rich people are bad, and, good looking guys are very snobbish, and, they would probably cheat on you or something like that. So I made a very simple ask when I was maybe 12. I said, if I ever get married, I wasn't even sure whether I wanted to get married. And that is one of the tips for manifestation. If you don't really want it, you would like to have it, it would make your life greater, but it's not a life and death situation for you, it gets manifested very easily. So, I just said, if I ever decide to get married, I will not want a guy who's rich or handsome. I will want a guy who really understands me more than I understand myself, because I was a complicated case with bipolar disorder, and I was super stressed out with everything in my life, and I couldn't understand what life was, what I was, what was happening. So I wanted somebody who could, help me make sense of it all, and that's all that I asked for. And then just a few years later, I met this guy. We were in church, ironically. We both were like absolute church-going religious kids. And, we were in this prayer group. We used to pray together. We used to do intercessions and a lot of stuff. And I met this guy, and it was like an instant connection. Like, he says that he wanted to marry me the first day he saw me. He believes in love at first sight. I don't really know whether it was love at first sight, but when I met him, I knew that I had to have this guy in my life. There was just an inner knowing that, maybe not the guy to marry, but I wanted to be friends with him. I wanted to have him around. And that's how it all started. And I think that's all that created it.
Apparently, I've read somewhere that men actually do more commonly, know and feel that a woman can be, that love at first sight, and believe it for themselves. And women tend to take a bit longer, apparently about, I think it's 8 days or something like that before a woman actually feels that she's actually in love with her man that she's met.
It took me 2 years. Even after I said yes to him, I said, yes, I am in love with you. I was so stubborn. I kept saying that I am in love with you, but I'm not sure whether I want to get married at all. Okay. And, I can live with you, but I would get married to you the day when I feel that I cannot live without you. So I had so many criteria because, all the marriages that I saw around me were so horrible. I was terrified of getting married. Like, even just one day before my marriage, I called my husband and I told him that, we can still call it off. Are you sure you want to do this? I was so terrified. And he was sure since day one. He just wanted to get married. It's literally like that was his life purpose. It still is. I still think that, I tell him this is your life purpose, right? Just to be married to me. And he's like, yeah, what more can I ask for? And I'm like, oh my God, this is like, it's so cute and so funny at the same time.
Wow, that's lovely. Like you say, it is cute, very cute. So in terms of then giving some practical steps, what is, something that you could give to somebody that's listening right now that's never had or never even been aware of a manifestation type practice? What is the first step that they need to understand around how to create the step towards having their ideal relationship or attracting that in their life?
So basically, I think the first step to any manifestation is getting clear of what you want to manifest. And this is like easier said than done because in my opinion, your request to the universe keeps changing because, initially you may want a guy who's really good looking and you might just have a few, 5 criteria. And then when you meet that guy, you might feel that, okay, there's this one more thing that I would like to add. There is another thing that I would like to add. So I feel that, a manifestation never stops. It's like Esther says, like Esther Hicks, one of the law of attraction teachers, she says, you never get it done and you never get it wrong. So I think the first step for everybody is to get clear on what they would like to create right now. Because as you expand, as your awareness expands, there's a brilliance in this whole art of manifestation. I call it an art because it is an art. Because no matter how much I learn about it, even today, I still believe that when I read a book, I read it like it's the first time I'm learning about it. And there is so much more to explore. So the first step essentially is to get absolutely clear about the kind of relationship that you would like, uh, in terms of how you would like to feel in that relationship. Not just, I want a rich guy, or I want a handsome guy, or, I want a guy who's probably spectacular in bed. I mean, all these things are absolutely valid and they're absolutely necessary. I mean, they're absolute necessities. But, it's more about, how I would like to feel, how the relationship should make me feel. I think that is what.
Yeah, I 100% agree because, okay, you might attract a guy who's handsome, you might attract a guy who's financially stable or abundant, but if they don't actually make you feel good, it's not necessarily a recipe for a healthy, fulfilling relationship. Whereas if you're not necessarily got that on the top of your list as a criteria, and you just want a man that makes you feel great, treats you like a goddess, who looks after you when you're not feeling a bit under the weather, doesn't mind if you have a bad hair day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, yeah. I mean, I have friends who have like great lookers, guys who are very good looking, or guys who are doing really well financially, but they're absolutely narcissistic in their ways. And somewhere, it sort of takes away from you because they're always putting the other person down. And it takes a while for somebody to realize that, which I think is so manifestation. It Once you start asking for what you would like, you have to also start eliminating a lot of stuff which is underlying. Like if you think that relationships are horrible, or people always have to compromise, or there is no such thing as the perfect guy, or I will never find the perfect guy, somebody else might but I won't, something like that. Like I have heard my friends say this a lot, and I'm like, if I can have this, you can have it too.
Yes. So be mindful of the self-talk that you're telling yourself, in other words, because if you're actually saying to yourself, I will never meet a great guy, then that's exactly what the universe will bring you.
Absolutely. That is also a part of ask and receive. Yeah. So when you're saying, so if you're saying that, I will never get the right guy, or, I've heard this quote so many times, all the great ones are either married, taken, or gay. I'm like, why would you choose to believe something like that?
Exactly. And they wonder why they're still single, because they're carrying around that belief or those beliefs, and they don't even realize that they're carrying those beliefs around, and then therefore creating that affirmation for themselves as being their reality.
Absolutely. So yeah.
Okay, so another thing then around actually manifesting your ideal relationship, like you said, get clear on what you want, and don't be too rigid around criteria such as how he looks or what his status is. Although we're not saying that all people that are all men who are wealthy or have good financial stability or are handsome aren't going to provide a great relationship. Of course, it's perfectly possible to have all things in one package, isn't it? We're just saying, don't necessarily just focus on having financial stability and the way he looks as your highest criteria.
Yes, that's exactly. You absolutely nailed it. So, I mean, like I tell my clients that, ask for somebody who's rich, handsome, who gives you diamonds every day, who takes you out on foreign trips, treats you like a queen. Ask for it all. You can have it all. You can absolutely have it all. Ask for everything. Ask for the sun, moon, and the stars. Also at the same time, look at your beliefs, look at your underlying beliefs, because if you have any kind of, so Neville Goddard calls it assumption, because actually all your beliefs are not facts, they're all assumptions. If you believe that you have to compromise in marriage, that's not true. I mean, I am the biggest example. I'm an Indian girl, so an Indian girl is she's trained since childhood to be the ideal wife. So she has to learn to cook, to take care of the house, to clean, to to be the ideal wife, and that's it. That's the purpose of her life. And for me, I was an extremely ambitious girl who wanted to create something great in this world, etc., etc. And I married this guy who was absolutely okay with my ambition. Like I said, he doesn't. I mean, he cooks most days. I do cook once in a while, but that's like completely because out of choice, because I enjoy cooking as well. So the kind of space that he gives me is absolutely off the charts. So there is, like I said, there is nothing. And when I made the art, I was very sure that I did not want somebody who's rich and handsome. So when we started dating, my husband wasn't a great looker. He wasn't great in a great financial space. But there is something when you just follow your heart and follow your intuition, which is also again a part of manifestation. So and just trusting the universe as you go along. Today, I mean, a lot of people tell me that, your husband looks better than you. And I'm like, really? I mean, no, that's not true. I look great as well. But, a lot of people, like in India, having a dark complexion is considered as ugly. But I can totally say that, my husband looks so good now. He's like, he was really skinny. He put on weight. He started looking better and better. And the financial situation, the financial space that we are in, I do not need to work. I don't have to worry about paying the bills. He's taking care of everything. So, you can have it all. You can have it all. And it's not, I wouldn't say that, it's a one-way street. It is definitely a two-way street. He pampers me. He treats me like a queen. So I treat him like a king as well. I mean, a queen will obviously treat her man like a king, not not like a slave. Like a lot of women, they think that, oh, I want my man to be my slave. I mean, why? Why would you want your man to be a slave?
Or vice versa. Yeah, I agree with you and there has to be, like you say, that room for that personal growth. So, okay, at the time that you met, your husband wasn't considered, the most handsomest man or not necessarily financially stable. But, the fact is that you've obviously helped each other grow and manifest a better life for yourselves. And during that time, he's become more attractive and put on weight after being very skinny and looking a lot more attractive. And also providing you with a great life in terms of financial stability. So it's not a case of, things don't change for the better. They do, don't they?
Absolutely, they do. And one of the great things about manifestation that I learned is that, you have to focus on what you like and not on what you don't like. So there was it's not that, our relationship did not have ups and downs. We had a lot of hurdles, so-called hurdles to go through, but each of those hurdles made our relationship so strong. So, there was this time when, we met with a major accident, and at that time there was nobody there. Like, my husband had like really fatal injuries, and, he had to have both his legs operated and all of that. And he was bedridden for 6 months. And during that time, I can safely say that that was the best time of our lives, because we were there for each other. We were just provided for. The money just kept pouring in, even though both of us were not working. It actually built my faith in the universe, because I realized that if I can go through this, I mean, if the universe has had my back through this, then I mean, bring it on. I mean, nothing. I mean, it's just every single low or so-called challenge or hurdle has just made our relationship better and greater. And that's the way it is. I mean, it just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah. And the thing is that, life isn't supposed to be absolutely smooth, because there's somebody that said to me once, a great sailor isn't made when the ocean is calm. A great sailor becomes a great sailor when the oceans get rough, and he learns to deal with those rough seas. And that's what makes him a great sailor. So, you can say the same thing about life. And any perceived challenges that we may meet are for our own greater good, aren't they, in making us a greater, better person.
Absolutely. That said, I still, don't really believe in this completely and totally. In fact, I don't, I don't sort of advocate this school of thought, because a lot of manifestation teachers that I used to follow would say that, challenges are required. And I don't believe in that anymore, because I believe that, you can create an absolutely brilliant life with zero challenges, because I have created it. And till I was of the opinion that, oh, you know what, bad things will make me stronger. I tell people, stop saying that I'm a strong woman, because a lot of stuff that you say has so much underlying assumptions to it. So when you say that I'm a strong woman or I'm a strong person as such, you're just saying that, I can, no matter what life throws at me, I'm going to face it head on. And guess what? Because you're saying this, life is going to keep on throwing hurdles at you, and you're going to actually create the challenges. So I talk a lot about the language of manifestation and the beliefs. So a lot of people say that, oh, just create the kind of life that you want, and everything else just becomes rosy automatically. And there is another school of thought which keeps talking about, oh, keep on working on your beliefs and working on your beliefs. And I'm like, you don't have to do either of that. You don't have to do, it's not an either or. It's it's about complete and total awareness. And life does not have to be challenging at all. It just can be a smooth ride. You can be happy every day. You can have a brilliant relationship. You can have the cake and eat it too.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose I was, referring to challenges because that's what most people, I suppose perceive, are potential obstacles in their way. But I suppose, I agree with you. I actually look at potential challenges and not actually see them as challenges, but look at them and think, well, what's the gift in this situation or this?
Absolutely,
whatever it is that's presented itself.
Absolutely, totally.
So it's reframing it, I suppose, in your own mind, that it's not a challenge. It's a case of, okay, this is a situation that that's presenting itself right now. What's the gift in it? What do
absolutely I need to so I also follow and teach this modality called access consciousness. And like I always tell people, there is no one route to total awareness, and there is no destination. It's a continuous journey, and everything, I believe that everything contributes. So I have personally done every modality under the sun, not because I wish to learn more and solve a problem, but I just love learning different schools of thought about the whole thing, and everybody has their own brilliance and awareness about it. So I have been following and teaching a modality called access consciousness for the last 4 years. And it talks about asking questions to create the kind of life that you would like to create. So one of the things that we advocate in access is that there is nothing right or wrong or good or bad. It's your judgment that makes it so. So like you said, a situation is just a situation. The minute I say that this is a bad situation, that is when I start creating it as a bad situation for me, because law of attraction, right? So we have this beautiful question that we keep asking, which is, what is right about this that I'm not getting? So, when something is really challenging, or, and initially it was very difficult for me to ask this question, because I would be like, no, I mean, how can there be something right in this situation? It just looks so bad. And, this whole modality just got me out of that whole judgment and out of this thinking that, oh, this is right, this is wrong, this is the way things should be, this is the way things have to be. And, being that control freak, which I think I still am quite a control freak. But I'm learning to surrender every day. I'm learning to surrender every day. So it's a lot of things, it's a balance between everything.
So, and what do you think about the importance of having that, daily awareness around having the attitude of gratitude? How important is that?
I believe, like, so in the book The Secret, Rhonda Byrne, who is, I love Rhonda Byrne. I love everything that she's written, and I think there's not one word that woman writes which does not resonate completely with me. I love the way she speaks, and there is one thing she's written in The Secret. She has a chapter on gratitude, and she says that if there is one thing that you can take from this book, if there is just one thing that you have to take, then let it be gratitude. And I totally believe in that. I say that, you know what, you do not have to learn the dynamics of manifestation, how to take care of your limiting beliefs, how to heal your energy. You don't need anything. If you can just cultivate an attitude of gratitude, you have absolutely nailed it. And like taking it a notch further, Esther Hicks talks about appreciation, which is one level even greater than gratitude, because somewhere when you are grateful for something, you feel that, like for example, if I'm grateful for the food, so a lot of teachers teach that, oh, you have to be grateful for food because, there are people who are starving and dying and they don't have food. No, it's not from that space that you have to give gratitude. You be grateful for, you be appreciative of what you have in your life, and that's enough. That's enough. If you can be 100% appreciative of everything that you have in your life, it is going to get better and better and better. It's a done deal. So gratitude is the thing. It's not the most important thing. It is the thing. That, like, I've done over 100 modalities, and I've read over 1,000 books, and there's not a single author on the law of attraction or manifestation or modality which does not speak about gratitude. Not a single one.
Yeah, I can vouch for that too, having been on that same journey. So, and what about having the mindset around acting as if, in other words, if you want to manifest a great relationship, then already acting as though you've already got it?
Yes, that is absolutely important. So, so right now, I have nailed it down to two amazing New Thought authors, one of them being Neville Goddard and the second one being Esther Hicks, or Abraham Hicks rather, because she channels Abraham. And Neville Goddard talks about this whole thing called, imagination creates your reality. And once you imagine, so, once you get into the, feeling place of it, that, I have this brilliant relationship, once you have to be something to attract it. You have to be that person who already has a brilliant relationship. And I know it's a little tricky, but it's literally like, it's literally like when you order something off Amazon, you just know that thing is going to come. So the minute you order it, you are the owner of it, right? So you will not, so, the minute, suppose you go into a car showroom and, suppose you order a Mercedes, and the car, if the car is going to be delivered to you, like, in a month or 2 months, because that particular make and model that you want is not there. The minute you have made the payment, you know that you're the owner of the car. Okay. You wouldn't say that, oh, you know what, you wouldn't go make the payment and then it's going to take 2 months for it to come, but the next day you come and say, oh my God, I don't have a car. You wouldn't do that. So you have to sort of own and embody your manifestation. It's called embodying your manifestation. So that is absolutely important. Once if you're embodying that, I have a brilliant business, it all boils down to having complete trust and faith in the universe. And there's this amazing book called Your Faith is Your Fortune. Your faith is your fortune. I totally believe that your faith is your fortune. When you ask, and it is a process. It's a process because we haven't been taught this in school. In fact, we have been taught the exact opposite of this. Like, I remember as I was growing up, I was taught not to ask. Okay. I was taught not to ask. I was taught not to receive. So, it's a process. It's a journey. That's what I would like to say.
Thank you so much, Wilma. That's been incredible, sharing all those wonderful insights around manifestation and how to actually access it and learn more about it. So thank you for your time and for your insights. So what is the best contact information that you can share with our audience today?
Okay, it's a little tricky now because I'm totally off social media, almost totally off social media. So I do a lot of one-to-one coaching programs, etc. And I have a lot of clients who I coach one-to-one. But the best way to connect with me would be through my page, which is Life Makeovers with Wilma D'Souza on Facebook. Okay, or you can message me on Instagram. I don't really post a lot, but I do check my messages. So my Insta handle is Wilma D'Souza Jax. So yeah, Life Makeovers with Wilma D'Souza, D'Souza Jax on Instagram.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. We'll put that information as well in the show notes, listeners, for you to be able to access Wilma's contact details. So thank you once again, Wilma. That's been fabulous. I've learned a lot myself through that.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you so much for having me. It was my pleasure completely.
So to just wrap up, listeners, remember that true love starts with opening our hearts. And until next time, goodbye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Hearts Entwined podcast. You can follow Lyn via the Facebook group Two Hearts Entwined, or search Lyn Smith, inspirational speaker, at LinkedIn, or email lyn@hearts-entwined.com. That's LYN@hearts-entwined.com. Remember, true love starts with opening our hearts.